Hey y'all, so I'm back to do another recipe. We are working on recipes that will cut calories, and today I am doing sweet potato chips. They are one of our favorites here. I'm not a big sweet potato eater. I don't like just regular sweet potatoes. I don't do the sweet potato pies, but for some reason, when you fry a sweet potato, it is so good. This is going to be a healthier version of that. So I've already got my stuff ready here. I have got my sweet potato. I've got a slicer, and it calls for Pam, the olive oil kind. Just the Pam olive oil. I've got a sweet potato, and it calls for, my recipe says Old Bay seasoning. I don't have any Old Bay seasoning, so I'm going to use Mrs. Dash. Remember, we are trying to cut as many calories as we can, so we want to cut the sodium. So let's see how these come out. One of the first things I do is I don't like to use the ends of the sweet potato, so I just cut the slice off of it. Then I'm going to use this slicer. My husband just bought this at the local grocery store, and I set it on very thin, and I just slice until my potato is gone. So as you can see, I've got it just where I'm dicing just really small. We like ours really thin. I love this little slicer. It just makes it so easy to chop these. Before he bought me this, I was using a knife, and that took forever. And they did not get thin enough like I like them. I'm through cutting them. You can see they are very thin, and that's the way we like them. It just makes them more like a chip. I'm going to take my Pam, and I'm just going to spray really quickly the plate. Make sure it's a microwave safe plate. And then I'm going to take my seasoning, and I'm just going to sprinkle it all over the bottom, and then put a layer of the chips all around. And you'll continue that until the plate is all the way full. Once they're in a thin layer on the plate, you just spray that again, and you want to get the top of them. So you just kind of sprinkle some more seasoning on there. Then we're going to stick these in the microwave, and we are going to microwave them for a minute and flip it over and do them for another minute. Okay, so now they've made it through the first section of the microwave, and I'm going to take those out, flip them over, and put them in for another minute. So the recipe calls for doing them a minute on each side until they get crisp. They're starting to be a little bit crisp, but they're not quite crisp. You can see that one's kind of a little bit soggy. So I'm going to put them back in for about 30 seconds and see what that does. Okay, so I ended up cooking them about a minute and a half on each side. It says a minute on each side, and you can tell that they're kind of starting to be a little bit crispy instead of just totally soggy. And hopefully these will taste good. Okay, so usually we like ours very crisp. And I usually fry them in coconut oil, which makes them very crispy. But, of course, that's not as healthy as doing them how I just did them. So, I'm going to taste them and see how they came out. They're not as crunchy, but they definitely have a good flavor. I think I might try the next batch, just putting the oil on the bottom of the plate and not putting it on top and bottom. Maybe that'll make them just a little bit crispier when you turn them over. Then they'll soak up the rest of the oil and continue to crisp. So pretty good. So if you try the recipe, which I will link down below, leave a comment. Let me know what you think.